guys. Well, good morning from the van. Yeah, that's right. Today we have more van maintenance and weirdness coming up. I gotta do something really weird to my van today, and I'm gonna try to take you guys with me. This has never ever happened in any time that I've ever owned a vehicle. Yeah, it's kind of weird, and I kind of feel sorry for my van because it's gonna get a little violated. But it's something that has to be done, and well, I'll take you with me a little bit later so I can explain. Okay, some of you guys might be saying, oh my gosh, what is this stuff? What are you gonna do with that? How does that have anything to do with a camper van? Well, I'm just gonna have to show you. Okay. Now, some of you might have guessed, if you're experienced in any kind of car mechanics at all, you might have guessed that it might have something to do with my transmission fluid. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can tell, but you see the tube? See how long this dipstick is? It's really long. There it goes. Finally came all the way out. I'm trying to do this with one hand so I can show you guys. Alright, this is going to make a mess. I'm just going to have to set it right here. If I can. Now, this is making sloppy video, but hey, sometimes that's what YouTube's all about. There, see how I secured it in the spring hillbilly style so it won't fall down? Now, I don't know if you can tell, but this little tube is pretty small. Can't even see it in the frame, but see, that's my thumb, and I'm a girl, and my thumb's not that big. Okay? So I had to get something that I knew that would fit down in there, and the only thing I could find was a little bitty fish aquarium vacuum tube thingy. I don't even know the technical word for it. And then I had to go to the hardware store and get some extra tubing because the tubing that came with it wasn't long enough. Okay, so as you can see, this is one of those, like I said before, an aquarium vacuum pump dealy. And it's just like a regular siphon hose that you can get at an auto parts store, except for it's smaller. And the auto parts one might have fit, but I just didn't, think it would. So I just automatically went to the pet store because I knew that they had something like this for little fish tanks that had small tubing on it, and I knew the worst case scenarios I'd have to go to the hardware store and buy this extra tubing, which I did, and it only cost me like $3 so for 10 feet, so it was no big deal. I did pay a little bit more than I would have for just a regular siphon hose, but having the peace of mind knowing that it's going to fit down inside that little tiny tube made all the difference in the world. If you're going to siphon out fuel or something for whatever reason, then that's a whole nother ball game. So what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to try to get it into frame, is I'm going to try to get it to where I'm going to measure the length of the dipstick, and then I'm going to try to measure the length of the area from where the dipstick goes into the tube down to the ground. And it might take the whole 10 feet. I don't know. I'm thinking it'll probably take around 6 or 7 feet. But let's check it out, because I think the dipstick, the dipstick is probably, handle and all, the dipstick is probably like 4 feet. So let's see here. So I'm measuring it from, I don't know if you guys can see. It's really hard for me to do this by myself and get it in frame. But I'm trying to take this, the very end of the tube from the handle, just in case, and all the way down to the end of the dipstick. And yes, you're probably going to get trans fluid all over yourself. That's why I'm wearing grubby clothes today. So yeah, I was right. That's about a 4-foot span. And then I'm going to take, and we'll just pretend that this other end is the business end here, is what you want to say. So that's about right there. And then my bottle, I want it to be able to sit on the ground so I can use the gravity to do it. So I'm going to go from the end of the tube. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm going to measure from the very end of that tube down to where this thing could, you know, sit on the ground. So it's probably not even going to be like to the grill there. So I'm probably going to end up taking off about, I'd say, 2 or 3 feet here. So let's see here. Hopefully you guys are sitting back up in there. Maybe looking up at my hood. But yeah, I'm just bouncing you guys all around here. But yeah, I'm thinking that that is going to do. So that means I have to take off, yep, probably got to take off about this much. Maybe a little bit less just to be sure. So probably, yeah, we'll do it that way. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to attempt to stick this thing down in there. Hopefully this works. I don't know. These tubes are kind of bendy and everything, and they may not go down in there. But I'm just going to stuff it way down in there. And hopefully it doesn't hurt anything. This is the only thing I can think of to do. Because you can't just put a turkey baster down in here. It's not going to work. And it feels like it hits some obstructions, and then I'm moving it around. See if it'll... See, the thing is, too, the old siphon hoses that you get at the auto parts store, they're not very rigid, and this one's a little bit more rigid than the stuff that they make those rubber ones out of, because it may not go down in there. That's the problem. And it looks like to me that it's not all the way down in to where the dipstick could go to be able to suck that stuff out. And now, as you can see, my little thing's moving around here. I may not be able to get it down into the little tiny parts. And by the way, make sure that your transmission's cold when you're doing this. That's why I haven't gone anywhere today, because I want to make sure that it's really cold so that I don't melt my little tube and stuff. But yeah, I'm pushing it down in there and it's not going any further. So I don't know if this is going to work, guys, as it doesn't seem to me like I got it all the way down in there. So we're just going to find out, okay? All right, hang on a second. Okay, I'm going to teach you guys how to do something bad right now. So please only use this for good when I show you this. But when you siphon something, a lot of times, especially when you have to do it like this, you need to put your thumb over the end of the outlet tube while you're pumping it first, so that you can prime the pump. So yeah, just make sure that your thumb is securely over. Yeah, my camera won't focus on this, but just make sure it's securely over that before you start pumping. Otherwise, it may not do anything. The old-fashioned siphons were like that. I don't know about this aquarium thing, but I'm assuming it's the same thing, because it's just a little rubber plunger ball. So you want to stick your thumb over this thing first before you start. Just a tip. Okay, here I go. I'm going to try to squeeze this thing and see if I can get anything to come out. I'm really doubting it, because I can't get it down there far enough. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, I don't think it's far enough. Yeah, see, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna try this again. Okay, so it still keeps going down to the same spot and won't go any further. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it just catches on that one spot. And I know kind of what spot it is. It always catches when you put the dipstick back in too, and it's really difficult to even get a piece of metal in there. But if I don't get it further down in there, it's not going to pump anything. But see, I can go so far and then I get stuck. So we may not be successful at this, and that's really unfortunate, because my transmission is not going to be too happy. Okay, you guys, it finally worked. As you can see, it's starting to siphon through. It just took a long time of pumping. So if you ever have to do this, just know it's going to take a long time. It took probably about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour of pumping it. But as you can see now, it's starting to go down into the bottle. Sorry, that's out of focus. Now gravity's trying to help. That's why it's important to put it on the ground. But yeah, I had to pump it and pump it and pump it. Yeah, this thing doesn't have much juice. It doesn't have much vacuum. That's why I was worried about putting too much line on it. Because I'm pretty sure why, some of you guys are probably asking why I didn't just use the whole 10 feet. Well, this is why. Because this little guy doesn't have as much suction as like a regular one. And it just is too much for it to have the full 10 feet. So it's better to have it, you know, cut to the length that you need instead of extra. If that makes any sense. A bigger siphon hose has a bigger ball on it, so it's going to be, you know, more able to pump. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it kind of looks like my van's giving blood or something. It's like a blood transfusion. Oh, poor van. But yeah, it's just going really slow because this little guy's little. It's not like a big one. But you can't use a big one because it won't fit in there. This one barely fit in there. It took me 5 or 6 times to get it shoved down in there. But just make sure you got a good bottle on hand when you have to do something like this. Hopefully this will never happen to any of you. But yeah, keep an eye on those guys that check your oil and change your oil and stuff if you can't do it yourself. This is just terrible. This could have blown my transmission. Okay, you guys, so I got this much out, and I think that's just a tiny bit over a quart. But the beauty is you could always put it back in. It's just hard to take it back out. So, yeah, so if it proves to be a little bit low, then I can always put this back in. I'm just going to save this. I mean, it was in there before. It's not going to hurt it to go back in. So as long as it doesn't get dirty or something. It might be a little bit contaminated with some of the water that was in the bottle, but it's better than not putting it back. Or you could always go to the auto parts store and possibly get some new fluid and put a tiny bit back in, which is probably a better idea. I don't know. Maybe you guys should put your thoughts in the comments. But I'm thinking that if I drained it a little bit too much, then you know, I could always put some back in. Okay, see all the residual fluid in there? I tried to get as much of it out of it as I could, but that's just not going to happen. So I'm just going to put it inside of one of these brand new baggies, so I know that it's going to be sealed tight and it's not going to leak anytime soon. And store it that way in case I need it again. I probably won't, but you never know. Okay, you guys, well, now I gotta wash up, and then I'm gonna run some errands, drive it around town, see what it does, and then check it again while it's hot, and see if I need to put back in any fluid, or if I did it right on the mark. It's kind of hard because I really had no way to measure it, but I'm just guesstimating at what a quart looks like, because I'm used to seeing liquid in quart mason jars, and well, to me that looked like about a mason jar full, which is basically a quart. So yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. I mean, these transmissions obviously are bulletproof to an extent, because any other vehicle, it might have blown a bunch of seals and gaskets and things already. Who knows how long I've been driving around this way? Probably at least a couple months, because that's the last time I got the oil checked and changed, I should say. That's the last time I got the oil changed, was a couple months ago. So yeah, we'll see. I'm just lucky the thing didn't blow up. I'm glad my brother noticed that before it was too late. And yeah, just watch who's changing your oil, guys. If you're not going to do it yourself, then don't just drop your vehicle off at a place and trust them with it. And as it was, I didn't. I was in my van, and I watched them through the little hood thing. I guess I just didn't watch them close enough. But yeah, this transmission was not leaking, did not need any fluid, but for some reason they decided that it was a thing to put it in there. So yeah, I'm not going back to that place. I'm going to find someplace else from now on to help me change my oil, or I'm going to do it myself. One of the two, but it's not going back there. Yeah, it's just a word to the wise, you know, you got to just watch everybody like a hawk nowadays. And yeah, hopefully that helps you guys. And just remember, you know, in a van like this, if you have to do something like this, heaven forbid, just remember that most of your siphon hoses may or may not fit down there, so you're going to probably have to go to the pet store like I did, and make sure you get some extra tubing. And hopefully you guys learned from my mistake. Just don't trust anybody with your van. Watch it. You know, it sucks that I have to say stuff like that, and it's terrible, but yeah, just watch your van like a hawk, if you can't service it yourself. And just double check everything before, you know, within days of having it done, just so that you can go back and say, hey, you guys, you know, you did something. I didn't even think to check my transmission fluid, because I had checked it before and it was fine and there's no leaks. And generally transmissions don't burn oil unless there's something wrong with them, and there's nothing wrong with this one. So it didn't even dawn on me to think that maybe I should check the fluid level. So there you go. Lesson learned, guys. So anyway, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. And hit the thumbs up button and all that good fun stuff. And yeah, just remember to check my descriptions for things, even though I don't have much different there, but I don't know, if you've never checked it before, you might find something that you want. So yeah, having said that, hopefully you guys are having a good day, and thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my video. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one, and have a good one, and good luck with all of your stuff out there. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.